Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to another episode of Be My Guest. We have Ed Londergan, and he is the author of The Devil's Elbow. And this book is pretty amazing. I'm not going to give anything away here. This is something we're going to let you take this away, Ed, and describe the book, your research. Tell us all about what went into this.
Okay. The story itself is based on historical fact. It is something that happened back in 1675 in what is now West Brookfield. And the story started with the relations between the local Indians and the settlers who came out from Ipswich in 1665 were very good for 10 years. Then, starting in about 1674, they started deteriorating as King Philip, who was Massasoit's son, came into power. There was a lot of the changes in attitudes because his father, Massasoit, and Indians of his generation had very good relations. Unfortunately, Philip and his generation saw their land being taken away. The settlers, English, tried to convert a lot of them to Christianity. There was a lot of resentment that was building. And in late 1674, 1675, it all started bubbling up. The King Philip's War started actually down in Swansea and spread up this way. And in August of 1675, the Indians, the local Indians out there that were friendly for years, attacked the small village of Brookfield and held 99 people captive in a 4-room tavern fortified house for 3 days, hot August days. 2 women, mother and daughter, each gave birth to twins within 12 hours of each other.
In that hot?
In that hot.
Oh. And they didn't have epidurals back then.
They did not. They had nothing. They had nothing. While 400 Indians were outside trying to kill them. They tried to burn the house several times. It was just horrendous. And they all made it through. And it was really the human drama that caught my attention. We lived in West Brookfield for quite a few years. And I first saw the story in a little local newspaper that only was printed for a couple of years. And it just really grabbed me. So I started doing a lot of research, and out there, you can walk around, you can literally go to the place and stand there and say, this is where the fortified house was, right here. And here's one of the rocks where the Indians were shooting, the meeting house was over here, they were shooting there.
You found it?
Oh, it's marked. It's been known for, the area hasn't changed in 350 years.
West Brookfield?
West Brookfield.
Now, I grew up in Wilbraham.
Okay.
By any chance, you have the high school in West Brookfield. Before your high school was being built, a number of the kids were being bused over to Minnetonka in Wilbraham.
Okay.
So I don't know if you remember that, if you came along later. It was already there. So I remember that. Yeah, it's a beautiful territory.
It is. It's gorgeous. It is on Foster Hill Road.
In West Brookfield?
In West Brookfield, top of Foster Hill Road. You can go and see the marker saying, here stood the fortified house. And there's actually a well right behind it where one of the settlers was shot.
And did he fall into the well?
No, he made it back to the house, but it was just crazy. You can say this is where that happened, and across the street is a stone where here was the meeting house, which is where the Indians attacked from. So it's really neat, and you can go and travel to the places where soldiers were attacked the day before the siege happened. You can literally go and stand in the places where history happened.
Did you like that?
I love it. Absolutely love it. It just thrills me.
Passion. And was history always been something?
Always, since I was a little kid. Love history.
Okay.
Love history. Yeah. So I started doing more research, and most of the settlers that came to West Brookfield, what was first called Quabog Plantation, came from Ipswich, or the Ipswich area. Mostly because they wanted more land, and there was very little religious tolerance in those days. And most of them, from what I found, really didn't go along with the mainstream religion. They just didn't like being told what to do. So they moved away. Actually, it's about 80 miles from Ipswich. And they lived there. They started this community out of nowhere. That was the wilderness. Marlborough was 25 miles to the east. Springfield was 25 miles to the west. Right. And that's it. There was nothing else. Yeah. So it was a really interesting story. So I started taking that and looking into some of the other research I did about just everyday life in colonial America, early colonial America. and found some stories about, kids being apprenticed to merchants or, sea captains or what have you. And I thought, wouldn't that be a neat part of the story? So I took these little elements from the research I did and tried to pull them together.
Right into the book.
Right into the book.
Yeah.
Right into the book. So that worked well. So
How long did it take you to write the book?
Actually 3.5 years.
Years?
Yes. I didn't know what I was doing. I'd never written a book before. I'd written some articles and had some stuff published in college, and when I worked in the financial services world, so I had a couple industry articles published, but I had never done this, and it had been bubbling around inside of me, and one day I just said, you know what, took a pen and started writing, and I didn't stop, so.
All right, so I know that I've talked with many authors. Some authors prefer to just sit down at the computer on Word and just rocket shit as they think. Now, you prefer to write.
It's called plotting or pantsing. I'm a seat of the pants person. I will just write.
But I would think it'd be the other way around
No.
on the computer, see the pants.
Oh, it is. That's what I'm saying. I'll just sit down and I'll have a general storyline.
Right.
What I always do is I write the last chapter first.
What?
Always write the last
last
chapter.
one?
In this book, I wrote the last third first because it was based on actual historical records. Went back and wrote the first third because I had the characters I was developing from Ipswich and what have you. And then wrote the middle third to tie them both together. I'm working on actually 2 other books now, and I did the same thing. Wrote the last chapter first, so I know how they're going to come out, and then I kind of work backwards.
That I've never heard about.
Very few people have. That's the way that I do it. Then I'll go back and have a general idea of what I want to do.
Yeah.
But then I'll just start working it out. And a lot of times, other authors will define their characters. I want this one to be this age, and I want them to be from here, or whatever. I don't do that. I have a general idea of, in this story, I have, main characters, Jack and Becky. I had a general idea of what I wanted, but I let them develop as I wrote. Because I found out certain characters, I had their names, but as I wrote, it's like, it would be better if he were a real bad guy.
Yeah.
Or it'd be better if, he was a real good guy.
Yeah.
And I took a few liberties with history, but I had to.
I like your style, the way it flows along. I like that a lot.
That was one of the most difficult things, was going through. This came out to be about 108, 109,000 words. I probably wrote 180,000 words.
And then you had to dumb it down?
And because I would go through, and it's like, this whole section is garbage.
You would just start clean again?
Well, I would just move. I actually have a little system. I will take anything that doesn't seem to fit the story and move it over to another document and save it in a different file.
Okay, yeah.
Because I may either want to go back to it or I may want to use it in another story.
Sure.
So, but yeah, going through and winnowing it down and not only having the content, but then looking at the pace of the story.
Right.
Does it flow? Does it not flow? Is it choppy? Is this section real good? Is that just crap?
Yeah, I like it grabs your attention, there's no doubt about it. I'm not giving it away at all.
I know I wrote it, but it's a good story.
Now, usually what I like to do with authors and artists as well, as we go backwards. When you were little, when did you notice when you wanted to start writing? Artists, I could pick up a pencil. I was starting to draw when I was little.
Okay.
What about writing? When did this hit you?
I actually liked to write from when I was in grammar school. I would write little stories.
Yeah. Did you illustrate them yourself?
No, I can't. I can't draw to save my life. No. Yeah. But yeah, I'd write little stories or little things for either my family or myself or some of my friends. And when I got into junior high school, I did a few things, of course, with English, and I always got great marks in creative writing.
Oh yeah. I know.
I've been told I have a great imagination, which works out well in historical fiction or fiction in general. And yeah, as I got on, when I hit college, I really started writing. I did a lot of poetry, a lot of short stories, had some stuff published in the college newspapers and various publications.
Where'd
or
you
whatever.
go?
Holy Cross.
Well, I used to live up near there.
Really?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
You know where Southbridge Street is? My son was in a residential school, so temporarily, so that we were going to pay a huge rent for a lot of bedrooms.
Okay.
So we found a temporary apartment up, unfortunately, Caro Street. Well,
Right across the street?
All night long. No, we were like, our backyard backed up to them, and we saw more action out there, and they were up till 2, 3 in the morning. The police are always over there. But I like Holy Cross because, when you're driving across, it looks like something out of Harry Potter.
It does. It's a beautiful campus.
It looks like a fantasy from
Great-
Southbridge Street. You're
Great
looking up.
school.
Yeah.
I lived on the other side of Holy Cross, between Holy Cross and Quincy Village.
Oh,
And
okay.
I literally lived 10 minutes away from Holy Cross.
Did you walk to school?
I walked to school.
You didn't live on campus?
I didn't live on campus.
You didn't.
No. My
What'd you
dad and I
major?
talked, and he went,
You went,
you
no.
know.
Now, that would be a lot more money.
Of course it was, yeah.
Now, did you major in English?
Political science.
Poli-sci?
Poli-sci. It was fascinating. The politics still fascinates me.
You still like that? I wonder-
Politics and sociology just fascinate me.
I'm wondering if one of your next books might be...
My next book, actually, I started writing a political thriller, which is...
Oh, I would like that.
You would. Everybody's going to like it.
I like anything mysterious.
It's got. I'll tell you the storyline in a second. And I was working on that, but all the people who've read this told me, "Whoa, time out, Sparky. You put that on the back burner, and you write the sequel to this." So I started doing that, and actually, it's pretty good. But I've gotten to the point where I'm almost tired of these characters because I've been dealing with them for so long.
3 years is a long time.
Actually, yeah, this would be like 4.5 years, I guess, 4 years, I
Yeah.
guess. So I'm putting the sequel to The Devil's Elbow on the back burner for right now and going back to the political thriller. The storyline of the political thriller is...
Without giving too much away.
I'll tell you, I'm not going
Alright.
to tell you how I do it. I'll tell you what it's going to be.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
Yeah.
but all the details you're going to have to find out yourself. The country, it's 10 years from now.
Yeah.
The country's in worse shape than it is now. Congress has literally stopped. Congressmen don't go to Washington. Everybody's bickering. The new president is an abject failure. There has been another recession that's deepened into a depression. There have been 3 terrorist attacks around the country. Over 10,000 people have been killed. There is a war that's starting in the Middle East that the president's going to commit U.S. troops to. And there's a group of billionaires who decide it's time for a change. So they're going to overthrow the federal government and start from scratch. And they're going to do it by taking out the federal government the one night in the one place they are all together, and that's the State of the Union speech.
Oh, my God.
However, their plot is foiled by a man and a woman, Sam Watson and Kate Fitzpatrick, graduates of Holy Cross. Of course, I had to. Sam was in the Navy. He was a SEAL. Now works for the FBI. Kate, and she's working for the Secret Service. Some of Sam's men that were under him in the Navy now work with Kate. So they end up basically saving the federal government. Tentative title is To Change the World. And the billionaires use the first part of the Declaration of Independence as justification for overthrowing the government. That's kind of the storyline.
How long did it take you to come up with that?
About a week.
Oh, you think quickly like I do. I mean, when you drive in the car, did you ever notice you're writing things down as you go?
I have a notebook in my car and my wife's car. I use my phone, my little voice recorder.
Yeah.
I have a notebook at home next to my computer, so I'll write things down. I have a little notebook on my nightstand because there are times I read every night, and a phrase or a sentence or an idea will catch my attention, write it down. There are actually times when I will get up in the middle of the night because I just have so much going on, I'll sit down and start writing.
Yeah,
But no, the whole idea came to me pretty quickly.
it did.
Yeah.
And quicker than The Devil's Elbow?
Oh, yeah.
Really? How long was that in your head? How long did it take you to think this one that you wanted to do this?
From the time I said, let's start, it probably took me a couple months to actually work out the whole storyline.
work it out.
Yeah.
Now, do you work from home in your own little office?
I actually go into the office 2 days a week and work from home 3 days a week.
So you have a different job plus that?
Yes, I'm a project manager for Northeast Energy Efficiency Partnerships.
Where are they based?
They're in Lexington.
That's a commute.
That's a hike and a half.
What's an hour and a half each way?
It's about 2 hours in the morning and an hour and change on the way home. So yeah. So I work from home 3 days a week, which is fine.
Yeah.
But the project I'm on only requires me to work about 30 hours a week, so that gives me time to write, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
So-
quiet for you at home?
I write in the dining room, and I don't have a door that I can close, so it's sometimes it's difficult. But My wife is kind enough to either go to the family room, or she has an office too, and she'll work in there. Or
No
whatever,
kids
so.
running around?
No kids. No kids.
Okay, so it's just...
Except for my cat coming up on my computer, everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Do you prefer to handwrite or use a computer?
No, use a computer. Actually, when I started the Devil's Elbow, I had a notebook, and I was working in Boston, and I was taking the van in every day. So I'd have an hour each way, and I would just sit there and back and just write by hand. And that was great, but then I'd have to go through and transcribe it all.
Mm-hmm.
I have horrible handwriting, so even sometimes I'd go, the hell's this? I couldn't read my own handwriting. So it's just easier for me to type
It's
it up.
easier to do it
Yeah,
on that.
yeah.
What do you like best? Do you like carrying a laptop with you, or another, like an iPhone?
I have my laptop.
Do that.
I have my laptop.
And on the van, that you could plug it in on the van, or you just didn't?
And on the van, I just used the notebook. I didn't have my laptop with me.
Okay, so you were writing it.
Yeah, writing it by hand.
That's incredible.
Yeah. But then after I did that, I wrote, it was probably the first, well, actually, the section I wrote in the van I never used. But it got to the point, it was just too difficult, it was too time consuming, so I just decided I'd just type it out, so.
Now, I love this cover.
You do.
It's beautiful. Did you hire...
I took the picture.
You took the picture?
I took the picture. I had a graphic designer, a friend of mine, do the cover. And he came up with some ideas, and yeah, the idea was it's a journey from somewhere you don't know to someplace else you don't know.
Yeah.
But it's a journey. And he came up with a couple ideas, and they weren't really colonial, so our friends who own the Salem Cross Inn in West Brookfield, which it hasn't changed in 300 years, I went out there with my camera and strolled around behind the inn and took a couple hundred pictures. And Rob and I, the graphic designer, and we went back and forth over about a dozen of them. We decided this is the one. So, yeah, I took this. So that's behind the Salem Cross Inn.
Behind the Salem
Behind the
Cross
Salem
Inn.
Cross Inn.
Now, you know, I've never been there.
Oh, amazing place.
Is it a restaurant?
It's a restaurant. It's they have a dining room. They have a tavern, a pub. They do a lot of weddings, a lot of functions. It's a great place.
Is
Absolutely
it off
beautiful.
of Route 20?
It's on Route 9. If you go all the way out Route 9
okay.
to West Brookfield Center, and you're going to go
Past Spencer, past Lester, just keep going.
Lester, Spencer, East Brookfield, then you're into West Brookfield. You come to the center of West Brookfield and just go straight, and 3 miles past that on your left-hand side is the inn.
And it's down there.
Beautiful old place. Beautiful old place.
How old is it?
The house itself was actually built in 1710.
Wow.
There were two brothers, Dick and Henry Salem, who actually bought it in the 50s from the 8th generation of the White family, who lived there since 1710. And they were actually going to fix it up as a place for Dick and his new bride to live. And as they were starting to renovate it, they found beautiful old pine paneling. They just uncovered all this gorgeous stuff. And Dick really said, Henry said to Dick, this is too good for you, so we're going to turn it into a restaurant.
Right.
So it became the family restaurant. They've been in business 50 years.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. They actually took pieces of other inns and taverns from around New England and brought them and constructed various rooms. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So if you get a chance, go out there. I know I'm plugging them, but it's our favorite restaurant. We go there every Friday night.
Yeah.
We've known the Salems for over 30 years. Real big tie-in to the Devil's Elbow.
Do you go to any writers' groups? I know there's a few of them
I don't.
been to. No?
I don't.
No writers' groups.
I shouldn't. I was at one, and most of it was people talking about how they should write, which is fine. But I prefer to just sit down and write.
Mm-hmm.
I found that a lot of writers don't write. They talk about writing.
Yeah.
And so just sit down and do it. When other people say, geez, I'd love to write something, like at a book signing, it's like, fine, well, how do I do it? Sit down and start writing and don't stop.
Exactly.
And I even found a cure for writer's block. If I have a problem and I can't move ahead, I will literally just sit there and start typing anything. It can just be garbage. This is garbage. This is crap. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where this is going to go. I have no idea. All of a sudden, maybe a page later, something will click and I'll just start typing and it's like, there we go.
Do you ever, I call it changing the tape in the cassette player? Just get up from what you're doing, completely go do something else. Get immersed in that. And then when I come back, I have a whole new... a more, I don't know, more upbeat.
Oh, yeah.
approach to it.
Oh, it's funny because if I'm writing and I stop and I go somewhere, usually an idea will click.
Yeah.
It happens a lot when I'm in the car.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm not quite sure why,
I
but
don't know, but that
I'm
happens to
driving
me.
along, all of a sudden it's
Yeah.
like, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Oh, if Becky just did this, bingo. There we go. And yeah, things like that. On the way down here, I actually had an idea about the political thriller, which I wrote down.
Do you talk to yourself in the car?
No,
You don't?
no.
You don't talk, you don't think out loud? See, I do.
Now and then I'll make an exclamation like, why the hell didn't I think of that earlier?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So on the way here, you were already thinking about your next book.
I actually wasn't consciously thinking about it. It's just, oh, that's neat. Boom. Why didn't I do that? I came by a pond.
Did you? Yes.
And it's like, it's a little beach or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I could put a scene on the beach, kind of part of the chase, one of the chase scenes.
I know where you went by. I
And
think
it's
it was
like-
the beach in Grafton on 140.
Yes. And it's like, that would be kind of neat.
Yeah, it's
Because
very
that book is actually going to be set in Washington, New York, and the Worcester area.
pretty. Worcester? Now,
Yeah.
how is Worcester tying in with?
Because the two main characters went to Holy Cross.
Oh, okay.
So they'll be back.
Yeah.
One comes back for a reunion. The other one they just lived here for 4 years. Actually, Sam is from the Worcester area.
Are they corporate dudes or?
No.
They're just business-
He's ex-military, and they both are federal government employees now.
Federal-
They both work on the national. FBI has a National Terrorism Task Force, and Secret Service has a National Terrorist Threat Assessment Center or something. And I have them working there.
Would
But
you
anyway.
consider them good guys for wanting to do this, or
Oh yeah. Oh, they're very good guys. Yeah. These are.
they just had enough of what was going on?
Oh no. The good guys are Sam and Kate. They're the ones who save the world.
Yeah.
The billionaires are the bad guys.
They want to just destroy
They want to
everybody
just
at that.
destroy it all, start over.
I want to read this, but can you hurry up?
That's what everybody's telling me. I'm going as fast as I can.
When
Yes.
do you think it might be done? End of summer?
Well, that one, I should actually have that done, yeah, probably by September. The first draft done. The problem with that is that has a great appeal. I mean, Devil's Elbow is a good story, but it has really local and regional appeal. This other one's going to have national appeal, hopefully international appeal. So I would need an agent and a major publisher for that. That can take time.
You mentioned something about you dropped the publisher you had.
She and I were talking, and she one-woman shop.
Yep.
She published some of her own books. She writes children's books, and decided to publish a couple other books. Well, she found that she really didn't have the time or resources to market and promote these so that would generate enough sales.
Wow. That's not good. Your publisher, you need an agent for that, though, right?
Well, no. You can self-publish, or you can end up working with a publisher, or you can end up working with an agent who deals with a publisher. Agent and publisher is the preferred route because they do a lot of the work for you. They're the ones who do all the layout and cover design and have marketing plans and all the promotional stuff and all the
Right.
tie-ins. The downside to that is you as an author get less, and you don't make much money as an author unless you have a huge seller, Stephen King type things,
You said you've done all of your book signings. I mean, I caught you right after they were over.
You did. I finished. I had my last one, my last scheduled one last month at Barnes & Noble in Worcester.
Oh,
But
my
I've done 8 or 9 of them, I guess.
Have you been to Tatnuck? Did you go there?
I have not. I have not. This first round was kind of in the Leicester, Brookfield, Worcester area.
So now that you're going to be working on your new book, are you going to do any more book signings for the Devil's
Oh, sure.
Elbow?
I'll
You
do
will.
books. Yeah, I just have to schedule some.
If people want to reach you
Mm-hmm.
about the book, let them know how to get hold of
Sure. Email me at edlondergan, ed.londergan, @gmail.com. That's the best
you.
way.
And you can help them.
I'll answer your questions. I'll help you with anything. If you want to write and you need some ideas or suggestions, I'll help you there. If you want to chat about the Devil's Elbow or anything else, be happy to.
Have you thought, Ed, about teaching this or having a workshop?
I haven't. Well, actually, I have, but I
Bet you'd be good at it.
I probably would be.
Yeah.
I actually had been discussing with my publisher about doing a seminar for writers.
Yeah.
here's how you write, here's how you get published. I actually had this edited on my own because I know an excellent editor, so I used her. And I would bring her into the program too, that I write, she publishes, and she edits.
So if you had a seminar, would you register at libraries, do them at libraries first for people like that?
I'd probably do it at the Salem Cross Inn.
You'd have
I was at one a couple years ago. There's an author, Michael Togus, who's written, 18 to 20 books, one of which was about King Philip's War. He does a lot of survival stories now. He did one about a Coast Guard rescue during the blizzard of '78 off the Cape. He's done a couple of this. Disney just picked up one of his books for a movie. Mike did a seminar 2 years ago, I guess, and he had 30 people who came from all over the state to talk about how you get published, how you write, and how you get published. And it was great. It was a day-long thing, so I was talking to my publisher, and we thought it would be a good idea, so now I just have to kind of rearrange things. And
I'm thinking you're going to be in the process of writing the new book, and if you set up a seminar, you're going to have a full plate.
I already have a full plate, but yes, I
You'll
do.
be
But that would be fun.
Have you done public speaking?
Oh, sure.
Oh, so yeah. See,
Oh, yeah. I present in my job. I present all the time.
Oh,
so
so
yeah.
you're used to that. That's great.
Oh, yeah.
Well, will you let us know?
Of course I
That
will.
you're going
Of
to have a
course.
seminar. Any idea when you might have it?
I need to get my new publishing thing all squared
All right.
away before I do that. But I'll definitely let you know.
Because we want to get that word out.
Oh, yes, please,
And that would
please.
be open to the public.
Oh, it's going to cost. There's going to be a cost to it. Don't know what that's going to be, but it would be like 9 to 3 or whatever. People would come, light breakfast, lunch, we chat.
Little workshops off to the side.
It depends on how many people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's possible.
That sounds like a really fun time.
One other thing that's been suggested, and it sounds like fun too, is I've done a couple book clubs.
Yeah.
And the last one I was at, which was in Leicester, they said, you know what, get a bus. And
Yeah.
everybody bring some drinks, and you can go around and tell us about all of these places.
Yeah.
And it's like, that would be fun too. So I'm actually going to talk to the local, I belong to the Quabog Historical Society,
Yeah.
which covers all of the 6 original towns of Quabog
The
Plantation.
Hysterical Society.
The Hysterical Society. So I'm going to talk to them about maybe doing this. And
If it was- With this, why not?
why not?
With Ed Londergan, and he is the author of The Devil's Elbow, and we've been delighted to have him today. And we hope we're going to come back and let us know about your seminars.
I will.
And your next book.
I will let you know about all of them. And
Everything. You don't
Everything.
have to know.
Everything. I will
And
just.
we've got people watching from all over the country and all over
fine.
internationally, and
That's
they're wondering.
fine.
So,
Definitely.
thank you
And
so much for coming.
Thank you very much for having me. I
See you
appreciate
next
it.
time.